Here we go. The very first champion revealed. Of course, Heart of the Huntress expansion. It's Nidalee. Let's do it.
Is my home, and I am its
She looks
guardian.
fantastic, by the way. Okay, 4 mana cat from Shurima. Nidalee, quick attack. Ambush 2, and she's a 5/3. I've seen you summon or transform 4 other allies. That's Sivir. That's Sivir without the spell shield. Honestly, this is pretty bland. This is just like, yeah, I have to see her level 2. I don't mind though, because she looks amazing. This redesign is so good. I like her voice too, by the way. Very, very, very good to see. All right. Level up seems pretty easy to do. Oh, damn. What a bomb. Oh, the little grass around it? What the hell is this?
I have their scent.
Wait. You could... Okay, wait, I just realized. If Nidalee is always played as a bush, that's 2 mana. And her ambush was 2. Does that mean you could play Nidalee on turn 3? Okay, turn 3 Nidalee, if that's possible, that's kind of broken. A 5/3 quick attack on turn 3? Oh, okay, that changes everything. That just goes to show how well done spell mana is in Runeterra, by the way. For stuff like that to be possible.
Who needs wings when you've got balloons?
Wait, what are those animations? Dude, the grass, the blimp, oh my god.
Threaten
What is
my
this?
pack, die by my claws. I am
Okay,
mother.
okay, it's like Samira level up, but cool. What the hell was that? The music slapping, the beat drop? God damn. 4 mana, 6/4. Gets Overwhelm. Nexus Strike, transform me back into Nidalee and create a Javelin Toss in hand. Huh? Wait, that's like Gnar. She levels down? So this is just going to be a Nakutak deck? Okay, that's actually crazy cool. I don't know what Javelin Toss is, though. Her art looks so good. This is so much better than whatever that abomination in League of Legends is. Nidalee looks way better. Her voice, I don't know if the voice is the same. I think it's the same. Not 100% sure. This looks really, really good. This looks sick, dude.
You are mere prey.
This is really good, by the way. If her level up is easy, this is pretty insane.
You humans are all the same.
Ah, okay, Javelin Toss?
Stay back or I'll shoot. Beast woman.
You cannot hurt me in a way that matters.
Okay, we'll look at that one later. We're gonna go over all the cards after this trailer. Deal 4? Well, that was a Javelin Toss, right? Deal 4? Dude, this looks... This music is a banger.
Swift and silent. Here I am.
What the hell was that a Rite of Negation or
You
something?
fetch a high price.
Grab them by the scruff. Gouge them.
Oh, yeah.
Clever.
What the hell? Oh my god, a big chonker?
Again. Massive
Yeah, no,
should
that's
be.
sick, dude. That's insane. Oh my god. Alright, here are all the cards. I'm gonna switch over to a different website. We're gonna go over all these cards. I'm gonna give my first impression, then I'm gonna give my card rating.
The jungle is my home, and I am its guardian.
4 mana, 5/3.
This will be a good hunt. Blood on the wind.
Alright, I can actually, I can try to pause when new cards get played. When I'm summoned, or the first time an ally transform each round, give the weakest enemy vulnerable this round. 2 mana landmark. That's trash. That's pretty awful. Renekton support? You're gonna play this in a Renekton? I mean, honestly, Nidalee Rengar, I could kind of see it. Both work really well with vulnerable stuff. Because Nidalee has quick attack. Renekton, well, is Renekton. And there's the 3-1 that got revealed yesterday. That's pretty good. I don't think it's good though. I still think it's bad, but maybe in like very specific Nidalee Renekton deck or something. That's pretty cool.
Blood on the wind.
Just play Sivir. I mean, he's rotate. That's Did I miss this card? Was it already? It was already on the board, right? I missed it.
This will be a
Okay.
I have their scent.
Nice. Yeah, you made it vulnerable. We saw this yesterday. Yeah, we saw. Oh, dude, this animation is so sick, by the way. This right here is insane. Oh my god. That looks really, really. Oh, what? Wait, what was that? Wait. Give an ally +2/+0 this round. If it is a shadow in a brush, give it +2/+2 instead. Oh, that's a really good card. That's a really, really good card. That's a 3 of. All Out 2.0. I wouldn't really say it's All Out 2.0. I still think All Out was a lot easier to activate. But this, like, in a Nidalee deck, if you're playing a lot of these brush cards, like, it looks like we're getting more that are being revealed. We saw, like, what, 3 yesterday? I'm going to assume there's, like, a couple more. Assuming you always have a brush on the board, this spell is insane. This is really good. Very good card.
You were warned.
It's really specific. I don't think this card is like crazy, but it's very good in specifically this deck because a 1 mana +2/+2 with almost no downside is just very good. That's basically it.
Threaten my pack, die by my claws. I am pack.
God, man, they've come a lot. Dude, does anyone remember the Sivir level up? Compare the Sivir level up to this. This is so much better. My God, that's like top 5 level ups in the game now. Yeah, you can't beat the Garen level up. That's true. Garen level up's still better. I mean, okay, I say Sivir because that was the first time they started like showing the characters in their actual level up art. They started doing that with Shurima, and some of them were a bit of a miss, I would say. Yeah, the fact that you could play Nidalee, or you could play the brush on 2 and then Transformer on turn 3 is kind of sick. That is actually just really, really good. Turn 3 Nidalee has to be insane. If you have the attack token on 3, you kind of just win. Wait, no, that's, oh my god, that's so nuts, Chad. Wait. Okay, so what happens is you skip turn 1, you play Nidalee as the brush on turn 2, you have 1 spell mana to protect your brush with the Prowl, I think? It was the Prowl, right? So if they try to remove the brush, you can keep it alive. Next turn, you play Nidalee ambush thing, or Nidalee's ambush, you get a 6/4? No, you get a 5/3. So he doesn't double that easily. And then you still have the 1 spell mana? No, that's sick. Yeah, that's really good.
You are mere prey.
Because you have 1 spell mana to protect her too. It's just really good.
You humans are all the same.
He can't!
Stay back or I'll shoot.
That makes this card a lot better too, by the way.
You cannot hurt me in a way that matters. Mangle them.
I love the little grass around that card. So good. How are the animations this insane for this expansion, by the way?
Silent. Here I am.
The fact it's kind of boring. I don't fully disagree. But I think that the deck itself is so unique with the ambush that I don't really
By
mind.
the scruff.
You gotta still like make the deck playable, right?
Gouge them.
Clever girl.
I think I just, yeah, I missed the card here. Was it this?
You cannot hurt me.
Oh. Avenging Vastaya. 3 mana Shurima. Ambush 3 Spell Shield. Ambush 3. So that's 5 mana in total, basically. When it transforms from Avenging Vastaya's Ambush, stop all enemy fast... Is this just a Rite of Negation? Wait, is this a burst speed? No, wait. Something got put on the stack. We saw the animation. What? Okay. This has potential to be really good, but what if it's just like sitting there? You can only have one shadow in the brush at a time. You can only have one brush at a time. So if you play this card, what if it's just like stuck there? It's not burst. There was something on the stack, right?
Mangle them.
Mangle them. You can't really say it's a worse right negation. They're way too different. Cringe Seraphine spells. Oh yeah, see, yeah, it's on the stack. Mango them.
Swift.
No, it's on the stack.
Here I am.
If it's burst, you wouldn't see that.
You'll fetch a high price.
Grab them by the scruff.
Yeah, I think this card is actually very good. 7 mana, that has to be the win con of this deck.
Clever girl.
Quiet again.
It says burst.
As it should be.
No, something goes on the stack. It's the same with the blimp card. The spell is burst, but the right still goes on the stack. There's no way you can remove all spells on the stack at burst speed. They wouldn't do that. Okay, yeah, I want to look at these cards when we have all of them available. So we can go over them one by one. All right. Gonna go over the cards one by one. I'll give my first impression, and then I'll also give like a card rating at the very end. From 1 to 5. 5 being insane, 1 being meh. Okay. So, Nidalee, 4 mana from Shurima, Cat, Quick Attack, 5/3, Ambush 2. That means that you can play Nidalee as a 2 mana 2/2 brush, and if you then pay 2 more mana at burst speed, you get a 5/3. The most insane part about this card is that you can play the brush on turn 2, and then on turn 3, you pay for the spell, and you get a 5/3 on turn 3 with Quick Attack. If you have the attack token, that is kind of crazy. That is a lot of pressure. We've seen how strong Sivir can be on turn 4 as a 5/3. Sivir does have Spell Shield, of course, but this being 1 turn early could potentially be completely insane. It's still kind of hard to evaluate this archetype because there are some limiting factors. You can only have 1 brush at a time on the field, which makes it like kind of strange, right? Like what happens if you have a very reactive 2/2 that's in the brush? Well, I say reactive 2/2, but what I mean is a reactive card that is turned into a 2/2 that you don't know when you want to use. That means you just have to play Nidalee as a 4 mana 5/3. That is not the worst, but it's also like that's not great, right? That's like nothing insane, really. So the level up, I've seen you summon or transform 4 other allies. That means that if you play another 2/2 and then you transform it, that is +2 to her level up, right? She doesn't count herself. So that means if you play a unit, transform it, it's 1 more, then you do that again, she's leveled. Her level is kind of insane. When Nidalee levels, she becomes Pack Mother Nidalee, gets +1/+1 and overwhelm. Next strike, transform you back into Nidalee and create a Javelin Toss in hand. Javelin Toss is a deal 4 at slow speed. If there are no enemies when I'm played, I target the enemy next to this death. So this is Lux. This is Lux, but balanced. And also in a region where it makes a little more sense to have this kind of effect, because spell slinging in Demacia, come on. What is that? That's why she's rotated, right? Spell slinging in Demacia, nobody wants that. So I think this is very good. What I'm curious about is if this deck is going to get more pieces later on, like a champion, like we've seen Nico in some trailers. I don't know if Nidalee Nico is, for example, a intended deck pairing, or if we should already be looking at Nidalee Bandle City with cards like Nakotak. Because Nakotak seems very good to me. You play a Gnar Nidalee deck, you have some transform units, and you have, well, Nakotak to give all your ambush units +1/+1 and impact. That seems very, very good. A few weeks ago, we played this type of transform deck, and it was actually, it was just good. We played all the cards from Bandle City, and then we had like some Falling Stars and Guiding Touches and Pill Cascades from Targon, and that was it. It didn't really use anything from Targon. It was just a Bandle City deck. So getting an extra champion like Nidalee, getting these transform units, sounds really good. Only problem is, usually these transform decks with Gnar play Teemo and Poison Dart. And those are, on their own, pretty bad cards, and they do not synergize with the way that Nidalee and Ambush wants to transform. That is what I'm not sure about. There is going to be some anti-synergy in how both of these transform decks want to work. Pack Mother Nidalee seems very, very combat-oriented. Gnar same thing. All the other transform units, not so much. The one from Freljord maybe, but not the ones from Battle City. So I don't know if that's going to be a deck, but it's certainly not impossible. It's not impossible. There is probably a deck there, but I don't know if it's going to be playable or if there's something that's better coming. Nidalee by herself, though, very good card. Very solid. Exactly the kind of card that Shurima wants. And these are her Ambush and Javelin cards. Packmother Nidalee's Ambush. Okay. And then we have Nidalee's Prowl. This is her champion spell. Give an ally +2/+0 this round for 1 mana burst. If it is a Shadow in the Brush, give it +2/+2 instead. Create a Nidalee in your deck. The best thing you can do here is react to something your opponent is doing with this card, and then use the Ambush card, because buffs are transferred over. I'm pretty sure a card like Iceborne Legacy works like this too. What you can do is you can Iceborne Legacy your Shadow in the Brush. Your Shadow in the Brush, every single time you play a unit as a 2/2, it will instead be a 4/4. And whatever unit you transform into will keep that +2/+2. So using Iceborne Legacy on the Brush just means all your followers get that +2/+2. And your champions that, like Nidalee, that go into the Brush. But it's give not grant. I'm aware. I'm talking about Iceborne Legacy. But with this, yeah, that's an Iceborne Legacy on 1 unit for 1 turn. But the buff still gets carried over. I'm just talking about the synergy for Brush cards. This does feel like All Out, but much more limited to one specific card. All Out is a much better card. It's much easier to plunder in those type of decks. I think this card is good. I think this card is going to be very good for specifically Nidalee decks. It's going to be unplayable anywhere else. So, is this card good? It's going to depend on how many of those ambush cards you actually want to play. My biggest worry right now, and I'll say that right away, and I haven't seen, any of the other cards. I don't know how many more ambush cards we're getting. What I'm worried about is that there's only going to be a few ambush cards that are actually playable, and I'm also worried that they're going to be too reactive. I don't want to end up with a deck that is just, here are a few ambush cards that are very reactive. I only use my ambush, like I transform them only when my opponent does something very specific. We saw a 3/3 that is like a Rite of Negation when it transforms. That card is just going to be sitting there, right? You're not going to wait like 5 turns until you get the optimal Rite of Negation turn. That's not how it works. So if that card is just sitting there, you can't do anything with it, then you can't play any other unit into a Shadow in the Brush. So it's very strange. I don't know what to think about that. Maybe you don't even want to play those type of reactive cards, and you only want like the good units that want to transform as soon as possible, as soon as they get a hit in. And in those type of decks, this is going to be very good. If you're only playing those cards as like reactive pieces, then this is a lot worse. A mid-range Nidalee deck, great. Anything else, probably pretty bad. It's great as a champion spell though, because I'm assuming if you transform Nidalee into a Shadow and Brush, second Nidalee in your hand will become this, and then you can just protect your Nidalee. It's a good card. It's nothing amazing, but it's going to be good in specifically those type of mid-range decks. And then we have the Bushwhack Trap. A 2-mana Shurima landmark. When I'm summoned or the first time an ally transforms each round, give the weakest enemy vulnerable this round. This is terrible. We saw this card in the reveal trailer. I don't think you main deck this. This seems pretty weak. I also don't think you're going to be transforming super often. Maybe there is like a Nidalee Renekton deck where this is pretty good. I don't see it. So I don't think so. I don't think this is main deckable. Maybe with Gnar, it's okay. Maybe if you're playing like Gnar, Nidalee, and they both have quick attack, yeah, that's pretty good. If you have a lot of Overwhelm or quick attackers, then maybe you want 1 copy. But I would say that this makes your deck worse. I would rate this a 1-star card. I think you absolutely don't want this in your deck. 6 mana, 6/5, Towering Parophant. Overwhelm, Ambush 5. That's a good card. So this is, you play this first as a 2-mana 2/2, then you pay 5 mana at burst, and you transform into this. This is pretty good. Yesterday, we saw the Tycoon, the 7-mana 5/7, 5/6, that transforms, or that doubles the stats of any unit that transforms, and that is good. This is a win con. I think the Tycoon and this might be the win cons in that deck. The Tycoon with Nidalee and this specifically is exactly how you want to play that deck. I would be surprised if this doesn't end up playable somehow. How does he fit in the Brush? I don't know. How does Cho'Gath fit in the Brush? That's a real question. I think this is pretty good. It's a bit understated, right? Like, Freljord has a 6 mana 7/5 for 6 mana. We have Darius as a 6 mana 6/6 that gets a little better. It's a champion, though, so of course. Yeah, Changeling plus this guy has to be the way to do it. Yeah. Again, I'm just worried about only having one brush at a time. I don't know how screwed up that is going to be for a card like this. You might only want proactive cards. Only proactive cards plus, you know, some of these. Is it worth the risk wasting a 6/5 that can be killed with a 2 damage spell? That's the wrong way to think about it. Because you play this card first as a 2 mana 2/2. So you're only losing 2 mana. Sure, technically you're losing a 6 mana 6/5, but you only pay 2 mana for it. If this is your win con, yeah, you want to be a little more careful with it though, but yeah, honestly. That, it's gonna be, I think this has to be playable. I'm like, thinking about when Lurk got revealed, and we saw like those 6 and 5 mana Lurk units, and it's like, how are these playable? These are way too expensive. But you just need Overwhelm to actually finish the game. So they have to be win cons. The Tycoon and this and Nidalee seem to be the pieces that will apply the most pressure. Nidalee and this look pretty right. Yeah, exactly. So I think there might be like a split between proactive and reactive cards. I think the reactive cards are going to be like generally good in a lot of decks. And if you have a very specific Nidalee deck, it's going to be almost only proactive cards. I think the 2 mana 3/1 that gives vulnerable and transform for 0 mana is also going to be insanely good in these type of decks. That's my take on these. 3 mana 4/2 bird. Wait, actually, was this a oh, this is nothing. This is not a subtype. Okay. So here we have a 3 mana bard. Ambush 4, Aurora Halunatis. When I transform, summon a Aurora Halunatis. It's pretty good. This is also the kind of proactive card that you probably want in your Nidalee decks. You play this on turn 2. And then on turn 3, if you pass turn 1, you get 2 4/2s that are attacking, you know, your Nexus for 8 damage. This might be good. Wait, what happens? Wait, when I transform, what happens if you do something like the 6 mana spell from Piltover or Timelines or something? Changeling? Does Changeling also summon an extra copy? So if you have this and a Changeling, you get 4 4/2s on the board? How good is 2 mana 4? How good is 2 4/2s on turn 3? It's like okay, but it's super easily to block. The most powerful thing here is that you can do it at burst speed. So on turn 3, if you're attacking, you can burst speed, summon another one of these, and then attack. And then your opponent doesn't have time to play their 3-drop to block one of them. That's pretty good. That's like the most powerful thing about this. I think it's not bad. Like, I would pay 6 mana for 2 4/2s, right? That's a fair price. But it's nothing extraordinary. Okay card. And then we have this one. The Avenging Vastaya. 3 mana 3/3 from Shurima. Ambush 3. When I transform from Avenging Vastaya Ambush, stop all enemy fast spells, slow spells, and skills. This is the kind of card that I have a lot of question marks with. Because how good is it to just have a 2 mana 2/2 sitting on your board reactively until you can finally transform it? Am I supposed to see it like, okay, you're playing the mid game, you're playing the early game, you're playing your Nidalee, you're transforming her, you're doing all like your aggressive units, and then when you have a board, you play a 2 mana 2/2 that is like, oh, by the way, I am also a Rite of Negation. Potentially, right? Like, how much is it going to matter that your opponent doesn't have information on what's what? I don't know how strong this is, chat. I generally don't know. It's such... The timing on it is going to be so weird. Like, if you're playing Nidalee and you're playing to win, do you really want like a 2 mana 2/2 just sitting there until you can finally pull the trigger? And at that point, you're always just waiting to play your actual real cards? Like, if I have this sitting there, that means I have to play Nidalee as 4 mana. This card exists just to make Jace feel anxiety. Good. He deserves it. Seems broken. I think this card is like a one-of in Nidalee decks. You guys have to realize that if Nidalee decks become competitive, you never actually know what's in the brush, right? And it could always be the one-of. So you always have to be careful. Can you play Nidalee if you already have Nidalee Bush on board? I'm going to assume that doesn't work. I'll be very surprised if that works. Yeah, this is not a burst deny. This is a deny that goes on the stack when you transform this. But outside Nidalee deck, yeah, I could see this outside of Nidalee deck. That's what I said before, right? I think there's going to be a clear distinction between the two different kind of ambush cards right now. I think a Nidalee deck that plays more of a mid-range style is going to have a lot of proactive cards. Cards that want to be transformed as soon as possible to apply pressure. And then you have another ambush deck, we'll call it, that only plays these reactive cards. Like the Poacher we saw yesterday. Like this card. The threat of this card is that it exists. Exactly. That doesn't mean that by itself it's a 5-star card. But the fact it exists matters. It's the same with Bandle City, right? Like, let's be real. Bandle Deny, the puzzling signpost, is not that good. It's pretty average. But the fact it exists and you have to think about it and be careful about it might alter your play. And that is the real power of it. And it's going to be the same for this card. 3 mana 3/3 Spell Shield. I'm glad you get excited about that because I don't get excited about a 5 mana 3/3 with Spell Shield. No. I don't want to pay 5 mana for that because I'm already paying 2 for the brush. And then sometimes I get to deny like a spell. And that's going to be good. But other than that, no, it's terrible. But if you have it on board just waiting, you can't play another ambush. That is exactly my issue with it. That is why I can't rate this a 5-star card. Unless there is that other Shurima ambush deck that actually cares about that. Having all these reactive cards. I hate playing around Deny. Well, think of it this way, right? Maybe you're playing around a Deny from this card. Maybe you see a brush on the field, and you're like, that could be the Avenging of Astaya. But even if you're playing your spell, you never know if your opponent actually has a right negation, and then it's the same thing. If you already have a brush, you summon him for 3 mana, right? Yes, you do. But then this text is completely null. Then it's just a 3 mana 3/3 Spell Shield. And that's fine. That's like, not the worst. But it's also not great. You don't really win that. Like, we don't see Eula being played very often. I hate playing around the 9 arena that already has an eye. Yeah, see, that's another thing that takes away from this card's power. So we see a lot of reactive cards. Like, okay, I think this card is going to be the win con of this deck. I want to say that right now. This card is probably going to be nuts. With specifically Nidalee and the Elephant. And then on the other hand, we have this card, the Blimp Pack Poacher. Probably this one. This card is basically Rockhopper, but, you know, older. We have this card. And I want to say, maybe this card too. This is not bad for a control deck. Just getting 2 blockers at burst speed, that's pretty solid. If the brush dies, what happens to the ambush spell? Apparently it gets obliterated. Printing also doesn't work. If you play a second brush that you printed somehow, there is no unit that can come from it. Still very hard to rate these cards. Very hard to actually give these individual ratings. Okay, I'm going to try. Nidalee is very strong. And I think this is the kind of card that Shurima absolutely needed. If I had to rate Nidalee between 1 and 5 stars, where 5 is insane, probably 3 stars. Probably 3.5. What she does is very strong on paper. It's very straightforward. It's going to get you value because a 4 mana 5/3 quick attack that you can potentially have on turn 3 is just good. Right? Also, paying 2 for the bush and then having 2 spell mana is like you're splitting the cost of a unit between unit mana and spell mana. And that is really, really good. But I'm not convinced on the rest of the ambush package just yet. So I'm going to give it 3.5 because standalone, it seems very strong. The rest of the package, meh. It's hard for me to really guess how easy it is to level her. It is definitely going to be possible to level her on like turn 4. On turn 3, you have the Nidalee. On turn 4, you play like a bush, you transform it. Nah, it's gonna be at least turn 5. But the Javelin Toss is extremely good for a region like Shurima. Very, very powerful. Add something like Nakotak, you're going to get a huge Nidalee, Jungle Cat Nidalee. And that is just good. Like, everything just seems like it's a very powerful package. But what does the deck look like? I don't see that as a tier 1 deck. And I hope I'm wrong, by the way, because everything we've seen so far is 10 out of 10. The reveal trailer, the music video, 10 out of 10. So good. All right, next. Prowl. I'm rating this 3 stars. I think it's a little bit worse than Nidalee. And it fully depends on if ambush decks are good enough. Mid-range ambush decks have to be good for this card to be playable. And I can't see that right now. If mid-range ambush decks are a thing, very good. Very, very good card. Bushwhack Trap, 1 star. This is a 1-star card. I think you're turbo inting if you main deck this. So bad. I'm not even giving it 2. This is just a 1-star card. 1 star. Towering Parophant? 3 stars. The way you have to see this is basically you have to compare this to Rune Runner. Rune Runner was an insane card. Rune Runner started as a 5-mana 6/4 with Spell Shield and Overwhelm, right? That was rotated because that was just way too strong. And ever since, Shurima hasn't really had anything that ends the game really efficiently. And I think for an ambush deck, this might be it. I could totally see that on turn 6, you play this as a 2/2. Then on turn 7, you play the Big Game Tycoon. And you transform this bad boy. Actually, that doesn't work because the spell itself is 5 mana. On turn 8 then. On turn 8. You let this sit and you let it threaten to end the game. And if your opponent tries to interact, you're like, I guess I'll transform it anyway. It fully depends on how good this Big Game Tycoon is. I think there is a very good shot that mid-range deck is just going to like play the early game, have a lot of good units, apply a lot of pressure, and then in the late game, you just have to deal with like the Tycoon and the Parophant. But that is like a 2-card combo, so I don't want to give it more than 3 stars. But a 6-mana 6/5, that is good for a real like Shurima. For Shurima, that's good. Aurora Helenatus, I'm also giving... No, I'm giving this 2.5. Tycoon is so bad. Tycoon is insane. It's the finisher. Tycoon is literally the Albus Pharaohs for these decks. Tycoon is good. Tycoon also gives you another ambush units. So it kind of has to be good. This is a 2 out of 5 for me. The fact you get 2 4/2s is not bad. Summoning a unit at burst speed is always good. But it doesn't really like directly win you games. It's fine. It's okay. And then we have this. Ooh, I don't know how I'm rating this one. 3 stars? I think 3 stars because it exists. We could just tell the whole Runeterra community right now, every single time I'm playing a Nidalee deck with ambush units, I'm going to put this in my deck as a one-off. And every single player on the planet will start sweating when they see the bush. Because it could be this dude. The fact it exists, 3. So no 5-star cards. These are the reactive cards. Okay, I'll rate these 2. This is a... I'm going to give this a 3 stars. 3 stars. A lot of 3 stars here. This is 4 stars. This card is nuts. This could even be like 4.5. 4 to 4.5. How is this terrible? This is Rockhopper. This is Rockhopper with synergies for ambush. Are you guys serious? This is a 2-mana 3/1 that grants the weakest unit vulnerable. How is this bad? You play this as a 2/2? If your opponent tries to do something, you just give their weakest unit vulnerable. This has to be good, dude. 4 stars. 4-star card. This is going to tie the whole package together. It's this card. This one also isn't like super reactive, right? Sure, giving the weakest enemy vulnerable is reactive, but you have so many actual like decently static units that this is not going to be a problem. This is no Rockhopper. It is literally Rockhopper. It is almost exactly Rockhopper. Except, you know, grant the weakest enemy that's already on the board. Rockhopper is like, you have to play a unit into it. A 2-mana 3 you can bluff. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Good card.
Star Guardian here.
Killu, thank you for the 2 months. Big Game Tycoon, 4 stars. This guy right here, he's gonna decide whether or not ambush decks are playable. This is absolutely the win con. You have to imagine that if you have a Nidalee in a bush on turn 6, and then you play this dude on 7, you can pay 2 mana for a 10/6 quick attack Nidalee. And it also manifests a card with ambush that it directly synergizes with. This card is good. This card is just straight up good. 2/5, am I being way too late? No, it's absolutely not way too late. No. There's just... Look at Albus Pharaohs, right? Albus Pharaohs even has to attack to even do anything. This dude doesn't have to attack. He gets direct value. plus this. Isn't 7 too late for a good mid-range deck? It depends on how you look at mid-range. These units are way more survivable than something like Elites. Like, Nidalee has quick attack. Nidalee isn't just gonna die in combat. Elites are. But yeah, I'll be honest, it does kind of depend on what kind of combat tricks we can play on this. Because if all your units are trading 1-for-1, then it's not going to be very good. This one is also hard to raid because it's a 3-mana 2/2 that, you know, gets value later. One Mystic Shot, and it's done. Stat line makes me want to give it like 2 to 3 stars. The effect is very, very good. Like, incredible. The fact it's a reptile is also really good. But it's just, it's a 3-mana 2/2, man. Impaled over. Can't be too good because of that. He never dies because of double denying quicksand and stuff too. Yeah, you're not wrong. But yeah, you still have to have like play him on 7 with 3 spell mana, so. Is no subtype a subtype? No, it's not. 2 stars. This is okay, this card is an anti-aggro card. Against aggro, 5-star card. Against anything else, 1 star. 5-star versus aggro, 1 to anything else. Okay, this card is also like, how good is this card? It's going to depend on the archetype. 3 stars. In the middle. It's playable, very playable in a Nidalee deck, but it doesn't do anything besides pay 1 more mana for an ambush unit. But that is pretty good for fuel, right? Adding a unit to your hand isn't something that Shurima is very good at, so I could kind of see it. Face check-in is a bad practice, 0 out of 5. Yeah, face check-in into a full enemy team. Yeah. The name is 5 out of 5, though? True. Yeah, 3 stars, in the middle. Depends on how good an ambush deck is. And sadly, this hurts my soul. Because of this. Because of our new wallpaper. Very sad. But I think this is a 1-star card. A 3-mana 2/2 that needs to strike the Nexus to do something. Only to get a 3/1? I don't know, man. It's the best art, but the worst effect. Yeah, sadly not very good. Very questionable cards. The art, the theme, the music, 10 out of 10. Love it. 11 out of 10. But we have to see what else there is. We see Nico and Nidalee in like the promo art and everything. So I would assume that Nico might be playable with Nidalee. We'll have to find out. I think these cards are awesome. I'm gonna love this team. It's a good thing for me if these cards aren't too good, right? If they're tier 1 decks, then I won't be playing them very much. But I love the looks. Nidalee looks fantastic. What an upgrade, man. What an upgrade. So, let's say goodbye to YouTube. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Actually, if this video is on YouTube, there's going to be my reaction to the music video right after. I have gotten permission to react to that. So let me know what you think. Nidalee looks pretty sweet. The whole theme, music, fantastic. Banger expansion. Blows Glory and Euphoria out of the water. It's insane. But I'll see you guys tomorrow with more cards. Bye-bye. Wait, is that you? Oh my god, that looks so sick! Dude, if that is the official art for this expansion, this looks incredible. Wow. Dude, that's good, man. What a banger. EDM? That's so good. I love this art down here. This looks like it's all unique art too. It's Jungle Cat Nidalee. Nidalee looks infinitely better. Nico looks so good too, man.
Above the flower bed, as we watch the You feel my pain. My soul is yours. Two souls the same. With you I'm everything. You never asked me to change a thing. They set our world on fire, but our hearts will burn from my.
This honestly rivals Jin. It does. The Jin Worldwalker trailer reveal. This is so good.
You're one of a kind. Stars shining with us. Your fire is contagious. I feel the moon on our skin. Love glows out, love streams in your eyes, shining through me. Light the way so that we can see. Feel the warmth of my love. Shine on.
Okay.
Even when I'm gone, let's circle far from near far above the flower bed.
Insane.
As we watch the stars, we'll never be one.
I love this art so much and the music, man. Dude, that's insane. Oh my god, that's so freaking good. Wow. I'm blown away. I'm genuinely blown away. That was incredible. How does Riot do this? What? Chat, we can't have voice lines, but we can get an entire just banger as official art for the game? What is happening?